In today's video, we're going to be going over some of the most requested altcoins and ranking them in terms of strongest to weakest. We're going to be starting off with symbol PEPE, symbol PEPE, WIF, and Dogecoin. And these are the three most requested coins that I've been getting for the past few months here. And I haven't really done an altcoin video in quite some time, so I figured that today would be kind of a fun, good day to be doing that. We'll go over maybe a little bit of Bitcoin action as well, but really nothing major has changed there from yesterday to today. Anyways, other than that, I should once again let you know that MetaSignals is offering a 14-day free trial to get their spoon-feeding signals straight into your damn mouth, like the helpless little bird that you might be. Or if you're just looking for a probabilistic setup that gives you an overall direction, targeted regions, areas of interest, let's say, and then also areas of interest that, if met, might indicate that this trade is going to go even worse, even more south. You might know that as a stop loss. That is available for you, again, in the link in the description below. And other than that, we just jump right into this one, starting off with the chart right on over here. We'll start off with symbol PEPE first. And this one is actually the strongest of these three, I should say. And I would say it's actually by a good margin as well. Now, in the short term, when we're talking about strongest, I'm talking about more long term. But in the short term here, you know, this one a little bit more on the corrective side. Yes, it is in a short term uptrend, but ultimately this one is more or less consolidating sideways. I do start to see a bit of bearish divergence forming between the highs that we saw way back on over here in February with the highs that it is now putting in May. This is not super concerning or anything like that, but you know, probably good enough to get a little bit of sideways price action here. Daily stochastic momentum also, if we go over here to the daily, is going to be positioned to the downside, as is the two-day. Man, head's not working too well today. I think it's these damn allergies in Finland. I love it. It's beautiful. It's amazing, but there's too many damn trees, and so there's a lot of pollen actually. And then the 5-day time frame, yeah, it's still heading up here, but ultimately it is getting kind of in the critical zone, and you know, long term, you know, very, very likely good, but short, medium term, likely still ranging, likely still putting in its time between this high right here that you did see, I mean, that you basically been seeing this one living under since March, and these lows over here, and some more sideways within this range is going to favor the boo laws long term, probably with these areas of interest in mind. Let me just pull this up right here. And yeah, we have the 50% level somewhere around whatever the hell this 7 number is right here. And then the 382, those would be the two big ones that I'd actually be paying attention to on any sort of major pullback for a higher low. Now, long term, one of the reasons why I do believe that this one is the strongest of the bunch is because the monthly is continuation, more or less. Now, to be fair, this is a chart that barely came in populated monthly because it's so new, but in general, when you see something like this, that is a strong signal for continuation, assuming that this monthly, which still has another 2 weeks left to go, basically, closes here or higher, or especially above, what would it be, March's high. Yeah, March's high would start to look really, 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 really good for some major continuation. Targets you might be asking, or areas of interest to the upside upon continuation, well, this one's been playing pretty technically from a base Fibonacci extension that we actually put in a long time ago. This was like back in November, December when we plotted this one, and you can see that it has been respecting these levels on the way up. Currently playing between the 272, or the 2.272, I should say, and the 2 extension right here. Upon continuation, very likely looking somewhere around this area here. Whatever the hell that number is, and then above there, you know, things can get really, really crazy. Probably finds it. In my opinion, this one probably finds its cycle high somewhere around these numbers here, but that can be very, 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 very far away time-wise. So, you know, maybe a year. But ultimately, those would be the major areas of interest I'd be having in mind for this one kind of throughout the cycle. Of course, on the other side, you know, you always have to have an invalidation. Where would I be absolutely unforgiving for this thing? Anywhere below April's low. If you see anywhere below April's low, it's fucking wrecked. It's fucking wrecked, man. But yeah, moving on from there, PEPE to WIF. WIF, I would say, is the middle of the pack here. It's not the strongest. It's not the weakest. It did have a very strong and explosive beginning to the year of 2024. No doubt about that. But since then, it's been sideways in a relatively tight range, I suppose. And I expect that this one's going to continue to be corrective here for some time. Now, it is certainly a lot weaker compared to PEPE because it is not near the top side of its range. In this case, this one is actually in the middle of its range, more or less. And if you put a gun in my head and said, figure out where this one's going next, I'd say it probably actually comes back down somewhere around the lower end of this range. We did put this Fibonacci retracement here. This was quite some time ago as well. It's probably around the time when this one put in the all-time highs because it's anchored at the top there. So, so in this case, I'd be looking somewhere around the 382. Any sort of a move down around there, very likely indicative of a nice strong higher low on the higher term time frames. But until then, this one can really philander sideways and eat up time. It doesn't really seem to be benefiting too much from Bitcoin upside moves, nor is it actually getting hit too much from Bitcoin downside moves. It is range bound and the range is rather large, obviously, as things are naturally on shitcoins, but I would still put it in kind of the middle of the pack of strength, a little bit behind PEPE, but ahead of most other things. If we actually are just talking specifically about altcoins. But in the short term, medium term, yeah, very likely does come down. We do see stochastic momentum on the daily time frame is nosediving here, deep into the bearish control zone, starting to be as long as price is below $3 and 21 cents. 2-day time frame is going to show momentum freshly coming to the downside as long as PEPE or WIF is below $3, and the 5-day time frame is just it was never up, as is the weekly. So again, higher term time frames not super useful in something like this because it's a little bit too new. But when we do see all of those things in unison together in that concert, very likely sideways and downside, and you're probably looking at a higher low somewhere around this region if I had to guess. Anyways, moving on from there, or basically just the range visualized in another facet. $2 versus about $4.35. Anyways, moving on to obviously the weakest one. You might have already figured this one out yourself. If you haven't, you should get off YouTube and go towards a short bus because it's all over, man. You should not be looking at cryptocurrencies. And we have not looked at this cryptocurrency in quite some time, Dogecoin. When I was looking at this chart, the thought that popped into my mind was it's like XRP. It's like XR fucking P. Except XRP pretends to be a real thing, and this thing it does not, and it actually is doing better. Actually is doing better. No, I'll piss off some people with that statement. I'm sure XRP is going to become the banking backbone of the world going onwards and forwards from here. It's going to make you rich. It's going to go to $541 and not a single fucking cent less. And then you can pay me for boo cake showers. I don't know how to make the rules here, okay? I'm just looking at the charts, all right? And that's just what that's just what the charts are speaking to me right now. If that even makes sense. The chart speaker, fucking hell, man. Things are truly boring when you start talking about that. Anyways, we haven't looked at this one in quite some time either. Yeah, it's following the market a little bit, but certainly not on par with even many of the shitcoins from the last cycle. So I would start to say that Dogecoin is actually long-term acting relatively weak. Now, is it bad compared to most things? Funnily enough, no, because it does still have these macro higher lows. Almost everything in this market over a long enough period of time cannot say that. XRP can as well, actually, to be fair, but just hasn't really done anything since 2018. Whereas this one did make new highs in 2021. So this one is actually stronger than that. Anyways, what am I trying to get at right now? Well, in this case, again, XRP, what are we looking at here? An overall range. Looks a little bit more strong in the short term, actually. But overall range, just, kind of plotting these things out. What is it, about 18.75 to the upside versus just over 12 cents to the downside. As long as it kind of plays between there, yeah, very likely does have that next major higher low in before pushing upwards and onwards throughout the rest of the cycle. But when we're talking about long-term targets, getting this one back to even prior all-time highs, I think is going to be quite the mission, if you will. I think best case scenario, and probably won't even happen, but let's just say all hopium aligns, the stars align, altcoins get sent to the moon and beyond, you might see Dogecoin at $1.50. But that's like max exuberance, max craziness, and that'd be max long term before cycle ends. So I'd say somewhere between about a year from now and maybe 2 years from now, something like that. That'd be best case scenario. For right now, if it can just hold this range, again, just above 12 cents, sideways is going to be long term considered good, but pound for pound, if we're comparing it to WIF or PEPE over here, it's not going to move up as much percentage-wise in any sort of general market rally. That's my main point here. But it is in different positioning than actually the other ones that we have seen thus far today. So I would say actually short term is probably one of the stronger ones, weirdly enough. But I don't think it's doing anything interesting to the upside. It's just range bound, and maybe the next short term move tests the tops out of the range, something like that. Really nothing to get super excited here about until this one's back above. Let's just even call it 19 cents, round up there. I think that'd be a better way of looking at it. And of course, to the downside, absolutely fucking wrecked below 12-cent low on a weekly closing base. You can expect this whole rally to crumble back on over, which would actually be quite characteristic for many of these things. But fair enough. For right now, GSAC kind of still have to err on the side of upside long term. Anyways, going into Bitcoin here, as we do have a little bit of time. Yesterday, kind of as we spoke about, we did see the reversal in statistics, and Thursday was indeed down. Not super crazy down, but it is confirming, I do believe, that shift that we noticed starting with Wednesday, that we're witnessing a change of behavior here. We're witnessing a change of behavior because the behaviors that we've seen consistently on a day-by-day basis since Bitcoin put in its highs in March 14th, just under $74,000, these are changing now, or at least they have been consistently in a very objective and identifiable way since Wednesday. And all of the 2 months prior than that, we could not say that, especially with the advent of what happened Wednesday, where it actually traded and closed significantly above the Monday high. We have not seen that once since Bitcoin put in its all-time high. So I do look at that as an early sign of a change of behavior. And if the past behavior was sideways and down, then probably looking at sideways and up long term. Anyways, here coming into the end of the week for CME, is there anything super specific to be looking at? I suppose closing above 64,800, going to be okay. Doesn't really do a whole hell of a lot for me. Keeps the short-term Bulaw's hope alive. But still, the big level for me, the big level for me for Bitcoin on CME or spot price action for that matter is 67,500. Above there, that's when this is no longer like, okay, it looks like things are changing around. We have a change of behavior, but we don't really have confirmation that things are, going to start trending in the other direction. 67,500 is the area where I'd be looking at that as confirmed. The same area that we've been speaking about now for, I believe, a little bit over a week since it was put in. That is the critical one for me. $65,000 doesn't matter. 64,000, 63,000 doesn't matter. Well, actually, $63,000 does matter, but for the other side, for the downside, obviously, below actually even like 64,000, I'd say Bitcoin rally is probably coming back down to the overall range of lows, but for right now, the ball is in the Bulaw's court. If we're looking at our tools right here, I'm actually not even getting too much from this. Still range play overall, and not getting any super objective signals using our regular tools. So to me, that's just a humble reminder to say, at the end of the day, can't make it any more complicated than what we already spoke about. 67,500. Sorry. I take that back. It is not 67,500, 67,400, 420 if you want to be super exact. No, it's actually, 67,340, 340 would be the exact number. If you can see that, if you can see CME close above that today, that'd be really, really good. The reason why I marked that area off is because that's just the last lower high that Bitcoin made before making its current low. Its current, most important lower low. So to me, that's a very, very important high right here. And therefore, if Bitcoin does reclaim that, you have an uptrend. I mean, you have your higher low right here, and then you have presumably your higher high following that. So that's a good place for me to be leaving off on this particular video. As always, I want to wish you well. Again, Medicine is still offering their 14-day free trial, and I think they'll just continue to keep that offer open because I think it's a good, transparent way of letting people see firsthand. Is this good or not? Is this good or not? You got to see it firsthand. All right, sweet. With that said, take care, much love, and see you hopefully tomorrow.